Well, is my time with DFA coming to an end? More than likely. At the point I'm at right now, the way they've explained stuff to me right now, there's slim to any chance that within the next year I'll be shipping milk there. The way they have this set up, they're basically you're screwed no matter what. So this is the standards we have to meet. Cell count has to be under 300, basically under 350,000. PI count's got to be under 50,000. LPC, I'm not even sure what that test even does. I've looked it up before and I can't remember offhand. But that's got to be under 350. Butterfat, basically, there's not a deduction for it, but you got to be over 325 butterfat, which is not a problem. Freeze point's never been a problem. This just indicates if you're adding water. So basically, these are the three main things they're going after. And you get a $2 deduction if you're over any of these parameters. And then this is your quality bonus areas. You know, you can figure these out yourself. You can read them. You know, PI still got to get premiums. You got, and all these got to meet. LPC's got to be under 100, or under 100. Under 20,000, under 150,000, and all these to get a 15 cents. And then if you're under 150 cell count, 20 PI, under 50 LPC, and all these, you get 25 cents. And then if you're 90% fall within the month, you qualify, you get another 40 cents. And if you're 80% of your individual pickups, you get another 25 cents. So this is heavily weighted against deductions. Now, this is where I'm at right now. June, I had high PI counts. And this is a little bit of a backstory. I had the high PI counts. Milk inspector came in here towards the end of the month, tested the soap cycles and stuff on the wash system, found everything was in parameters. He took his flashlight and he looked up in there and he looked in the tank. But other than that, he's never pulled anything else apart on this pipeline. And I was in violation that month. I got a $2 deduction. July comes, counts are still high in the month. So middle of July, he comes in here with his supervisor and they did an action plan. He did the exact same thing again. And that morning, I was just finishing up milk when they got here, and I pulled the filter out of the pipeline, and I showed it to the supervisor. I says, "This look like a high PI filter. You know, does it have a lot of dirt on it?" And he said no. And he went through stuff. He asked me if I ever looked in the pipeline. I said, "I haven't looked lately." So we pulled the end off the pipeline. He looked up in there. He couldn't find nothing. We tore apart the vacuum line there, found nothing. You know, it was all dry in there, nothing wet. He asked me if I ever checked this pipe here. It goes to the tank. I said, no. I figured if the glass is clean, that should be clean because that gets the brunt of the water. So we tore that down. He found nothing. And then, you know, he writes up his action plan. You know, filter was clean, cows were clean, equipment was clean, this was clean. You know, they can't find nothing. Made a couple suggestions. But, you know, being I had the high counts in beginning of the month, still got a violation that month. So another $2 deduction. Then the beginning of August, I get a letter saying that I've had 2 out of 4 months quality violations. I get a third one, I'm basically shut off. Well, that letter is kind of false because that's not the exact procedure. Because I got pissed off, I called the milk inspector, I laid into him a little bit, and I even told him, I said, well, what the hell do you want me to do? I said, you guys can't find nothing. I've tore this all apart. You know, I tore apart the diverter valve, I tore apart the trap and stuff. And that was the other thing. The supervisor asked me if I've checked that lately. I said, a week and a half ago. And I said, if you want to check it, you pull that off, you're putting it back on. He took my word for it because he knows how damn hard, I guess, it is to get that damn thing back on there. Well, like I say, didn't get nowhere with the milk inspector. So come August, I didn't really hear anything. I mean, I get email alerts and stuff, but I haven't really looked at much of anything else. But I guess, well, August came, and that's when I found out I had problems with the tank washer, and figured that was the problem. So we go back here. This is July and August, beginning of September. This column here is the PI counts. And let's see, this first one is June, and that's no test on that one. But it was 17, 6, 9, then I got 100, 75, 163. July shouldn't have been a violation, really, according to this. Well, guess the way it worked out, it did. I might have to go back and check that and lay into them. But then come August, it was down, low, and then they got 100 and 100. And this is when I found out the tank washer was screwing up. So it took me a week to get a new motor. So all I could do was wash the tank, was hose it out with hot water. 2 of them tests that week were 31. Then I get the high one, and then here's where I got the tank washer back on. Then they were all pretty down. And then for some reason, I got these 3 high ones here at the beginning of September. And they've been down. The next one after this, I think it was like 7 or something. But the problem is my pointing at here, that's cell counts are up. I got a 700 there. Now, like I say, these here are a monthly average. And my understanding, I don't know if it's for every one of these, but they usually throw out the highest and lowest and average the rest. But anyway, cell count was up in August too, and then like I say, I got another quality violation. So the milk inspector was in here for inspection. We get inspected every 6 months by the milk company, and he was in here beginning of the month, and I was talking to him then, and I told him on the cell count what I'm waiting for is the milk tester to see if we can get individual tests to see where we're at. And that's where he tells me that there's no worried about getting shut off until they do a final action plan. And he hasn't been ordered yet, but he says it's probably coming. Well, the next week, he calls and says they need to do the final action plan. And they wanted to come, been last Wednesday. Well, then I get a message earlier in the Tuesday saying that they're going to come Thursday because the supervisor had a sore leg. Well, I've been going the last couple of weeks with a bad leg, back, and all this, but I still get my work done. I guess riding in the car, you can't have a sore leg. So, but then it turned out the milk tester called me and wanted to know if I wanted to test the next day, Wednesday. Well, great, that works out. They're not coming, so we'll test Wednesday. So they came Thursday. Now, I never told them that I had the milk tester here. So they come in here and then they did the same thing again. They tested the wash cycle, found nothing wrong. Looked at everything again, couldn't find nothing wrong. And we get talking about cows. And of course, everything we talk about for cell count wise, he asked me what dip do I use? It's a 0.5% iodine. Well, you should really use a peroxide based one. And no matter what I mentioned, like I say, a high cell count. If the guys at milk cows are going to know this. If I'm running a 700,000 cell count, that filter would not be this clean. There'd be clumps, clots, and stuff on there. I told him I would see somebody that's got a hard quarter, a swollen up quarter, abnormal milk of some sort. Oh no, not necessarily, is what his response was. So they wanted me to pull individual samples. Of course, they're here Thursday. They don't want, he left me enough bottles to take individual samples of cows, send them at the milk hauler. Well, it's not a good idea to send them in on Friday. So, because of the weekend, they might not get tested until Monday or something, I guess. So, we agreed to hold off. Next time that the milk hauler would have been picking up, that I could have sent them in, would be Tuesday. Because he picked me up Sunday, he's picking me up Tuesday. So, I pulled the samples Monday night. Had them all set up here for the milk hauler. He took them in Tuesday. Today's Friday. I filled out the paperwork, put my email and stuff on there. I have yet to see this report from the cell counts. But I got a phone call from the inspector yesterday. They sent him a copy. And of course, he's going to tell me, he told me which one the 4 highest ones were. And I don't know where I stacked it here now, but anyway, I have the DHIA report back, Dairy 1 report. So I have all the cell counts on the cows, and he told me the 4 highest ones, and they kind of correlate. But still, I haven't got a copy of this yet. I am to the point I really don't trust anybody that is doing lab work, even doctors anymore. If you know anything about this PCR test here and what the deal on that is, that, the more cycles they run, eventually they get a positive result. How do I know they're exactly running these tests? They're supposed to be incubated 18 hours. Well, how do I know they didn't incubate them longer to let them grow more? And that's the other thing that was funny. Like right now, today's the 24th. I got picked up on the 21st. There is no test results posted yet on the website. But I've gotten a web alert that I had a high PI or high cell count on the 21st. Now, I got, this one here, the 18th. I got an email alert. Which was it? I get email alerts. High PI. It was the PI count I got. On the 18th, I had a PI count of 100. I got the email alert on the 20th. Now, my milk hauler, I am the first stop. The milk that he picked up today, he's going to be running in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm his first stop. He picks me up about 7:30. So then he runs this load of milk in the next day. So I asked the supervisor, how the hell can I get an email alert for a high PI count on the 20th for milk picked up on the 19th? And that's after he told me that it takes 18 hours to incubate it. I said the milk didn't get there until the 19th. And by the time it gets picked up into the lab, milk haulers will tell you some of these samples are sitting in the refrigerator for 2 to 4 days before they get picked up. So he goes out and makes a phone call. He comes back and he told me, amazingly, that load of milk that was picked up the 18th was run in on the 18th. And that sample was picked up at 10 o'clock on the 19th in the morning. One sample out of the last 4 months here, 3 months, all these email alerts come. Another tank's been picked up a lot of times before I get the email alert. And so, like I say, I think they're manipulating these numbers. I think they're jerking us around. I don't think they want the small farmer around anymore. Because while the supervisor was out the truck there at the one time, the milk inspector stood in here and he goes, Dave, you really ought to think about going grade B. They're paying more right now. So, and that's the second time he said this to me. So this is an indication that, to me, that, like I say, they want me out of here. If you want me out of here, just come in here and say you're shutting me off. But DFA has a marketing agreement. And it renews yearly. They can't shut me off just because they have too much milk. They can only shut me off for chronic quality violations. So all of a sudden here, I'm getting chronic quality violations. So they come in here, they did this final action plan. Now, where I'm standing at here right now, this is how they explained it to me. And part of it I'm still sketchy on, doesn't make sense of where I'm actually going to be. But they said they can't do nothing until they do the final action plan, which they've done now. So now September is my free month. Right now, it doesn't matter what happens on my test this month. I'll still get the $2 deduction, but they still can't shut me off. I have until the end of October to get my counts back in line, or else I am shut off. But they still can't just shut me off. It's got to go in front of some board. I don't know which board it actually is. Through DFA. And then I guess I have an option to appeal, which I don't know if me going in front of them or appealing to them and say, your two inspectors have gone through everything and can't find a damn thing wrong either. So how the hell am I supposed to correct anything if they're the experts that can't figure it out? But what they told me was the board meets on October 22nd. And then the next time they meet is in December. So I have until October 30th, 31st, whenever the last pickup of the month is going to be, to get my accounts in line. So does that mean if I have a violation again in October and I'm going to be shut off, where's that put me for November? Are they going to take my milk in November until the board meets in December? Or am I shut off until I get to that board, get that meeting in front of the board to appeal it, and then maybe by the end of December they'll be able to take my milk in? And so I don't know if there's going to be 30 or 60 days where I have no place to ship milk, because under this contract I'm not allowed to ship anywhere else unless the contract's terminated. So I don't know where I'm going to be at here yet. Like I say, I know there's a problem of some sort. I don't believe there's a problem to this scale that this is put. Like I say, I believe that they're being manipulated. Because, and that's the other thing, if I go grade B, the milk's going to the same plant. So I don't know what the problem is here right now. If grade A is paying less than grade B, that should be an incentive to them, to kind of overlook this for a little bit. But, you got the rules and regulations you got to follow by. You got to meet the standards. I understand all that. But, so, there is some benefits going grade B. I have another neighbor. She was one of the ones that was shipping Deans that was bought out and then was into DFA once they were bought out. I don't know what problem she had, but the inspector that was working with Deans, she got a job, and I guess it's some independent cheese plant somewhere. I'm not sure which one or what. But this neighbor switched to theirs. It's still grade B, but it's completely separate from DFA, I guess. So I got to call her. She was talking to my wife at the fair about it. So I'm going to have to call her maybe and see what that is. We're going grade B. Like I said, there is some benefits with grade B. And that's the other thing too. I told the milk supplier, I said, my understanding is I got to meet the same standards for grade B. And he goes, no. Well, he didn't even know. He says, I don't think they even test for PI counts for grade B. So if that's such an important test, why wouldn't they do that for grade B too? Cell count, and that's the other thing. I'll talk about cell count on another video once I get them other test results, and I'll talk about that a little bit. So I might not have, there's a little less of a standard you have to meet. I wouldn't have to deal with that gold standard program. I hate that goddamn thing. It's about animal husbandry, taking care of the animals, but it's me justifying what I've done for 40 years to a bunch of people, and it's basically to appease activists that want the dairy industry gone anyhow, which are never going to change their mind. After the first year, we're due for the big state inspection. I don't think I have to deal with that. So there's some benefits going grade B. One of the biggest disadvantages, and there's no guarantee of market. Grade B, if there's too much milk, they can just shut you off. But usually, like I say, if I can get into that independent cheese plant, it'd be less of an option or less of a problem with that. And then another thing with DFA here, they're starting a quota system after the first of the year. And it's based on an average of your highest monthly average for the last 3 years or something. Well, the last 3 years I've had some pretty piss poor production. If I happen to get corn silage off and happen to improve milk production, I could increase my production 2.5 times. Now, it's not necessarily that if I do that right away, you're going to get docked on excess production. It's only if they have excess production that they can't market. So this could be something that would only happen 1 month out of the year, or it could happen for the whole year. So, I don't know. Everything keeps coming back. It'd be better off just selling it and going on welfare like everybody else, if I could get on that. I could fake a disability and get something maybe. But, I mean, like I say, it's a bunch of circle shit going on here right now. And that was the other thing, the final thing I'll say about this. even if I do meet quality, or I don't have to meet the high quality standard, all I got to do is be in this range, not get the deduction range. But even if I do make it in October, if I have 1 month in the next year, I'm shut off. So that's what puts me to the point was it's going to be damn near, I won't say it's impossible because I usually don't have these problems. But you get one bad month, something happens. All it takes is something in this pipeline to go bad 1 month, and you start having high counts again, and you don't catch it right away, I'm done. So, like I said, I've rambled on about this enough. Probably going to confuse everybody, but this is kind of the roller coaster I'm on right now. Don't know what's exactly going to happen. Pretty much I see the writing on the wall, and in the end, it might be better just get away from DFA because I am so tired of these corporate elites. Walmart, Amazon, DFA is right up there, Cargill, Smithfield, Tyson. All these companies are tied together and it's all coming down to controlling the food supply. And the less guys they have producing the food, the easier they're going to have to control it. So that's just my feeling on it. And, it's going to be what it's going to be, but hopefully something will work out in the end. I mean, it's just a matter of what's going to happen here at the end of October, November if I have problems. So, this is way too long. So, thanks for watching. And like I say, I'll talk about the cell count portion of this on another video. Thanks for watching. We'll catch up with you later.